Hello class and welcome to this Metroid NES walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Brigands. I'm your instructor, Professor Brigands, and it's not every day we get to teach a class on one of the greatest platformers of all time, but that's precisely what we have in Metroid today. 1986, it's mind-boggling to think that this game came out in 1986. In terms of difficulty, Metroid isn't too bad if you know what you're doing and where you're going. It's kind of a big map, especially for 1986. So that's precisely what we're going to be covering in this class. Where to go, what to get, the fastest track to 100% complete this game. But specifically, I'm going to give Metroid a 5 out of 10. On the frustration scale, this equates to throwing your controller across the room, maybe if you get caught in one of those pits you can't get out of. But this is a long one, so let's run the intro, get into this absolute gem of a platformer in Metroid. Alright, as we start a new game here, I ask that you please subscribe if you haven't done so already to enroll in this class. We do one of these classes every single week. We'd love to have you along for the ride. So to start out, we're going to head left. We're going to pick up the morph ball right here. I'm going to cover this one for Blaze. We'll bring him in a second, but let's take a look at the controls. You can toggle between gun and missiles when you have them with select, pause with start, attack with B, jump with A, move around. We can crouch once we have the item we just got with down. You can also drop a bomb when you're down with B once you have them, but let's take a look at the Briggs notes now. First, have a map, or better yet, just follow this walkthrough. As I said in the intro, we'll show you the fastest track to 100% complete this game. Number 2, get the priority items ASAP. Once again, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to show you how to get the most useful items at their earliest possible times. And lastly, you can refill your health and missiles when you need to with some certain enemies, which we'll draw attention to once we see them for the first time, which just keep respawning. This map is anything but linear. It's completely open, so just pay attention. First thing we're going to do is head up here in Brinstar, the first section of Zebes, and we're going to throw to Blaze for an overview on the items we're picking up in Metroid. Alright, let's talk about the basic items you will find to pick up in Metroid. First, we have the health circle, which refills 5 or 20 health for Samus. It depends which type of enemy you kill. Some of the enemies drop this and they'll give you a 5 or a 20. Most enemies just give you the 5, but some of them, randomly it'll be 5 or 20, so keep that in mind. Then you have the missile refill, 2 missiles every time to your total. Then you have the overall adding to your total missile pickup, which adds 5 missiles to your max. And then we have the health container, the energy container, which adds an extra 100 health to your max total. Alright, thank you very much, Blaze. You'll see it's a lot easier going down than coming back up on this planet, as gravity asserts itself. That said, Samus has a pretty decent vertical, and it's just going to get better when we pick up an item a little bit later. These are one of the enemies I was referring to earlier in the final Briggs note. We can just camp on these guys and keep shooting them as they respawn. They're called Zebs, and they just keep giving us health after health, and missiles once we have missiles. So now we have our first 5 missiles. We can switch to those with select. See, the red doors in this game are protected. Most of them require 5 missiles to break through and continue on, so you want to make sure that you have 5 missiles at least when you're traveling around the world of Zebes. Gotta say, it's odd for me to pronounce it Zebes because I always said Zebes growing up, but apparently the correct canon pronunciation is Zebes. Just sounds very strange, but we're gonna head up now. Picking off these little guys as we go. Get into a nice rhythm, you find, as you're climbing these platforms in this game. Really, it's just about the most platformy game I could think of. As we cut back through here now, and now that we have our 5 missiles, we're going to head up. You can see we're capped at 5 right now. When we do get a missile increase, it goes up by 2. But, so you get these, I always think of them as like lab kind of areas. I don't know, or kind of a greenhouse meets lab. The portal to our next item. You might want to wait to go through this door until one of these little creatures goes through, as they'll get some damage on you, but anyway, Blaze, what do we got here?
Alright, the long beam makes your shots go longer, not surprisingly, all the way across the screen. Very good item.
Alright, thank you very much, Blaze. Yeah, can't do more damage with this, unfortunately, but it will go across the screen. And that's something. Hit those pesky enemies that refuse to come off the ceiling, or... And there we get 2 of our missiles back right there. Very satisfying sound when you're shooting some of the enemies in this game. We can't hurt these little floating shell creatures right here. We can freeze them a little bit later on. We can kill some of them with an item that we'll get a little bit later, but in the meantime, yeah, they're quite handy as little platforms once we have the freezing beam, but that's going to be a little ways off from now. Mine the sand down here. It will sap your health. Despite the suit. Not sure what the point of the suit is if it can't protect us from sand, but I guess we'll just assume it's really hot sand. And it's better than getting it in the suit, I suppose. That could be frustrating. These little blocks here will respawn given time. It's useful a little bit later on for traversing about certain areas of the map. There's certain areas that we can bomb once we have the bombs. We'll be grabbing those soon, but yeah, there's a lot of false bricks in this game which give way to the bomb, allowing you access to secret areas. We have our first energy tank. A little bit of insurance now that we have that extra 100 health, and not to mention it tops off our health. Just gonna keep on moving. Some players like to leave that. I think if you use the special code, which I think Fluff is going to talk about a little bit later, so I don't want to step on his paws, but they give you pretty much all the items, everything you need, all the energy tanks, except for that one, because it's easily accessible, and then it'll top off your health at the end. You can go fight Mother Brain and everything. The final boss, hopefully no spoilers right there. So now we're in this next area, and we just need one more missile. Of course, when you need it, you can't get it, right? There we go. It's the only problem with having a max of 5. Don't worry though, it's a situation we will shortly remedy. There are a lot of missile upgrades in this game, and I never learn. They got me again coming through. Alright, well, have at it, boys. Enjoy yourselves. And I think I know what this is, Blaze.
Alright, the bombs when you're curled up. Just hit B to drop a bomb. These can take out enemies, or more importantly, allow you to access places you could not otherwise access.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Some situations you can use the bombs to give yourself a little elevation. It's kind of tricky. And I don't think there's actually too many situations in this game which are designed to be solved that way, but it didn't stop me from trying when I was playing this as a kid for the first few times. It's nice to notice some of the guys, I think Blaze mentioned this, give us back 20 health. Some of the quote-unquote tougher enemies in this game give you a little bit more back. May seem like there's a lot of backtracking here, but again, it's all in the fastest track to 100%ing this game. And of course, you don't need all of the missiles, but we just thought, you know, when you're playing a game like Metroid, you gotta show the whole game, right? You gotta show every nook and cranny on planet Zebes, as it were. Really does look like there should be something there. Nice if we could just put like a decoy there, Indiana Jones style, just something to make the room come together a little bit better now that we took that energy tank earlier. So we're headed to Norfair next, leaving Brinstar, where we'll find a number of very valuable items, but right now we're just gonna grab what we can. The entirety of the area is not gonna be available to us, unfortunately, at this stage, till we get a few more items, but yeah, the scope of this game for 1986 is, I said it in the intro, just mind-boggling, and I don't normally reference the intro video, but this game and Mappyland both came out in 1986, so nothing against Mappyland, but then again, kind of a lot against Mappyland. But, you know, what must they have thought, those developers? And I've posed this kind of question before when it comes to music composers, but, you know, what would the developers, just everyone involved in Mappyland, thought when they played this game around the same time, knowing both games came out around the same time? Both had full access to the exact same everything, and I know you're saying, some of you might be saying, Professor, you know, they were making a different kind of game. Yeah, inferior, but no, I like Mappyland, it's okay. It's fun for what it is. It's cute. It's a good time. I know that's very condescending, but in the presence of Metroid, come on. The only equal, I would say, I think most folks would argue in 1986, would be The Legend of Zelda, the first Legend of Zelda game. Two very different games, but both incredibly impressive in what their ambitions were and what they accomplished. So while we're killing some more time and heading into Norfair finally, let's go to Fluff for our first Fluff fact of a lot of Fluff facts today about Metroid.
Players might remember the famous Justin Bailey password, which gives you all the power-ups and features Samus without her suit. You might be wondering who is this mysterious Justin Bailey and what their connection to the game is. You'll be very disappointed to learn that this password's resemblance to a real name is purely a coincidence, and that these are simply the characters which result in a full complement of power-ups, setting you up to beat the game.
I still don't believe it, but not calling you a liar, Fluff, but that just seems like too huge of a coincidence. But still, I will accept that there is no one named Justin Bailey. I mean, I'm sure there is now. If some parents grew up in the mid-'80s, then I'm sure there's with the surname Bailey, I'm sure there's a Justin out there somewhere. I'm sure there's one regardless, whether or not they knew of the game. Did have that story that Robin Williams' daughter, Zelda, was named after the titular Legend of Zelda princess in that game, that series. Justin Bailey, not quite as good a story, but still. See, we have these walls which we can use to get back up, or we could also just use the normal platforms, but they have pots in Norfair as well. It's not Zebs, I think they call them Gamuts. They look a little bit different, but same concept. Shoot them, easy kills. These are just geysers, but yeah, kill the Gamuts and get your missiles and health back up. Mind the lava. I could understand the lava maybe being a bit more uncomfortable than the sand, but we have another missile upgrade right here. Got 15 at the moment as our ceiling. Gonna head back out. You see, I'm gonna play a little bit loose just because I know there are energy tanks upcoming. I know there's generally places to stop off and fill up the Gamut station, as it were. We can do a timely jump here to get this to fill back in, or it could just knock us out of the way. Obviously, it's going to go in the order that you shot them, so you need to be careful in that sense. See a lot of these different parts of Planet Zebes. There it is again. They all have kind of similar enemies. Some of them will bring out some first-time enemies, but you know, you're seeing that looks a lot like the floating shell that we saw in Brinstar. Gamuts for Zeds and vice versa, or Zebs, I should say. And obviously you don't need to get all of the missiles, but it really does help when you get to Mother Brain specifically at the final battle, you're gonna need most of the missiles you can carry. You'll see why when we get to it. Or if you're familiar with it, just there's a lot of things flying at you that you need to use your missiles specifically on, and missiles are the only thing you can use on Mother Brain, not to step on Gary's toes there, but we're gonna head right now. We're out to get the next item, a very important item, which I somewhat referenced earlier. If you need to, you can use a bomb crouch to get those guys who are beneath Samus's cannon range, apparently. She can't just be bothered to just kind of tilt that arm down a little bit. Not gonna second guess Nintendo, I'm not gonna second guess Samus, so that's fine. It's not too far here. It is hidden away though. We're gonna need to go through the ceiling, or the floor as it were. Go through the ceiling when we're coming back. Just forget where it is. I think it's on the right side. There it is. You can see they're kind of precise sometimes with the placement that you need for the bombs. Be kind of tricky. Right, hopefully you have 5 missiles at this point, so we can grab the next item. Not sure why those little guys aren't shooting up lava from their faces. Well, I could probably take a guess, but Blaze, what do we got?
Alright, the high jump, very useful item. Increases the height of Samus's jump so you can access areas you could not before.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Yeah, it's not just about accessing areas you couldn't before, it's getting out of the lava or the sand more easily. It's more hang time, which sometimes is what you need to avoid taking a hit. I could stand to avoid taking a few more hits, or a few less hits. Well, you know what I'm trying to say, I don't want to die. I'm trying to go for the no-death run as always. Wait for these to fill back in. Where the freeze beam would be nice, but that extra jumping height helped us out there. This time we're gonna head up from where we came. A lot of this looks very similar, so again, follow closely or have a map. It's easy to go into the wrong door, run into a dead end. If you don't have the items you need, plus there's just a lot of dead ends in this game in general, so. More missiles. Wouldn't be my first choice right now when I only have 41 health, but that's alright. Even more missiles. Set of 2 right here. Obviously a lot more missile pickups in this game than the energy tanks. There's only 6 of those, and in terms of missiles, you max out at 255, I believe, so. Whole lot of upgrades for missiles in this game. Hard to feign the same level of excitement for one of those as you'd have for the energy tank. Can't really afford to bathe down here, but sometimes you need to hang out just to avoid taking more damage by coming out prematurely, so. Like those guys that stick to the ceiling, they're tough to take down until we have a certain item a little bit later, but they tend to give you a lot more health, averaging the 20s. You can punch up through the ceiling here. Same idea, wait for the floor to fill back in. Even more missiles. So we've gotten 4 from this little section alone. And we got 1 more here. Alright, so we're in good shape missile-wise at this point. We can come through the floor right here. Again, it had to have taken people a long time of, trial and error, bombing every single tiny little tile in this huge world to find all the secrets, all the power-ups, all the items, but we get 20 from these circle guys. But it's part of the fun. Except in our case, I think just attending the class is fun and being told where all this fun stuff is. That's fun. Hopefully I didn't just make a point as to why we don't need this channel. A lot more balls flying around in here. Didn't mean to leave right there, but... It's a good point to mention that using the missiles in place of your gun, once you have a good amount of missiles like we have right now, not a bad idea. And we have a very important item finally right here, and let's go to Blaze to talk about it. Blaze, what do we got?
Alright, the Ice Beam, very useful item. So much so that it's in the game in 2 different locations, but this temporarily freezes targets for you. Very useful at the end of the game when staring down a life-sucking Metroid.
Thank you very much, Blaze. Yeah, I didn't have to wait too long to get that after all. See, we're already able to freeze some enemies. It's nice. Not only does it give us a little stepping stone, but it makes the screen a whole lot safer. Some enemies we just keep loading the freezing shots into until they die. Sometimes we just freeze them and then pull out a missile, take them down with one shot, so a whole lot of options. But yes, it's useful for transportation just as much as it's useful for defense and offense. Just allowing us to access more of the map. And these are the gamuts. That's how you want to pronounce that. I don't feel necessarily obligated to get this single enemy's pronunciation right after just one per video. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Planet Zebus, and these are gamuts, whatever you want to call them. Generally, you're not going to get back, say you kill 2 enemies with your missiles, you're not always going to get back a missile power-up. I'd say maybe for every 3 or 4 that you kill, you get a missile power-up, so if you want to think of it like that, every 2 that you fire, you'll get 1 back, so you can't always rely exclusively on the missiles, especially when you're at the restock pond of the gamut or the Zebs. Now we can freeze one of these enemies. Either will work, but let's go with this guy. He seems a bit more dangerous. Jump on his friend. And now we have access to these missiles, which we didn't have access to before. Every now and then you'll still get a 5 from them, but just as likely that you'll get a 20. Very satisfying, I have to say, seeing your health go up by 20. I don't know what it is. It's one of life's little mysteries. So we're pretty good on missiles right now. I've lost count of what our ceiling is at this point, because I'm using these interchangeably with our freezing weapon. We're not going to need a ton of missiles for quite a while, so not a big deal. We can restock a little bit later, but while we're backtracking, let's go to Fluff for another Fluff fact.
According to the developers, the name Metroid is a portmanteau of Metro and Android. Metro because the game takes place underground like in a metro subway, and Android because Samus' suit made her look robotic. The setting of the game is mostly influenced by Ridley Scott's 1979 film Alien. One of Mother Brain's 2 capos, Ridley, was themselves named after Ridley Scott himself. In terms of gameplay, it was heavily influenced by popular Nintendo platformers of the time, Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. The developers wanted their game to be much darker, both in order to reflect the danger of the world of Metroid, as well as be a contrast to the brighter, cheerier aforementioned Nintendo games of Shigeru Miyamoto.
Thank you, Fluff. Good facts. Yes. It's certainly darker. Mission accomplished on that front. They wanted to contrast with, Shigeru Miyamoto's his cheery blue backgrounds of his Super Mario Brothers and things like that. But they certainly created an environment, a vibe, a mood, whatever you want to call it. Just a great game. That's what they made in the end. But I'm not sure if those little guys are little seahorses are glitching out or what the deal is with them right now. Bomb through here and head back. Whole lot of secrets here in Norfair. I like shooting the bubbles out. There's a 20 spot from one of those bubbles. I think we can make that jump. Yeah, we don't need the secondary floating guy to make that. Alright. We at least have one full energy tank at this point. Almost. We make this jump. There we go. Not sure what's holding these bubbles up. Wouldn't have 3D for quite some time, but we have this little airlock area. Here's little gamuts. If you want to stop off and top things off, that's your prerogative. Yeah, these energy tanks are fewer and farther apart than I would like. Could bust through the ceiling here. As they swapped out the purple color scheme for some puke green, some pea green right here. Five more missiles, and we have a very good item right here. If I'm not mistaken, but we'll go to Blaze, yep. Yes, we do. Blaze, what do we got?
Alright, the screw attack gets my award for item of the game in Metroid. Why? Because it makes Samus invincible when jump spinning in the air, and it deals damage, lethal damage, to virtually any enemy it touches. Love the screw attack. Pick it up. There you go.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It really is. Those guys that fly it around and give you 20 health when you kill them, it's a godsend for taking those guys down. So, and these floating bubble balls as well. Can really get a lot of our health back quite quickly with the screw attack. So, and I think we can punch down through here. Almost forgot about this. So many floors. Just, yeah. Say it again. This map is massive in this game. There it is. A little bit more hang time too, because the frames, it slows down just a little bit while we're in air, so it gives us a little bit more control, I guess better said, as to where we're going when we have it. It's practical invincibility, since we're in the air so much, or we certainly are now. If we weren't before, we're using it now. It's just slicing through everyone on the screen. I think we can punch through bottom here. There we go. I'm glad that bottom tile didn't fall out. That would have been a nasty trick. There is one section, one or two, where just by virtue of the design of the game, it's just, you know, if you want to give this game, take 1 point away from this game, give it one tiny flaw that you can find. There's a couple spots where you can get stuck in quicksand and you cannot get out. You just don't have the jump ability to get out by virtue of the design of the pits, so maybe it was intentional, I don't know, but I think we can get through here somewhere. Is it at the front? There it is. It's sneaky like that. And it's false lava in this case. We're just gonna fall through the floor here. Even just basic item power-ups that you find in this game, if you're gonna 100% it, just, you know, they felt like Easter eggs or just hidden secrets. We can boost ourselves up with a bomb here. And finally, we get our second energy tank buried deep within Norfair. It's a nice still right there, I like that. I like the colors while we're doing the screw attack. Bomb back right through this way. And for all the secrets that are in this game, there's also a lot of dead ends where, you know, you could waste a lot of time thinking, oh, I found something new. Where is this going to take me? I think we can bomb out the floor right here. And we can drop down a couple levels, but pretty sure that's all we can do with this area. This doesn't lead us anywhere, so a lot of false flags. They like to mess with you. But anyway, back through the lava. It's like the hidden area in the hidden area in the hidden area. Just keep going. So we backtrack again. A lot of backtracking in this game simply because just so many of these items, these hidden items, are just out on an island, just completely isolated, so that's what adds to the time. I think there's multiple access points here, but this is obviously the safer one. We'll go back through here. I don't think it's where we came out earlier. Yeah, we came on from the bottom, I believe. It is such a relief, though, just spinning through every single area knowing that you can't be touched. Even the enemies that you can't kill, who are themselves invincible, we don't have to worry about while we're in our screw form. It's a good name for an item, the screw attack. I think there's another false floor. Not sure if we can punch through here. This might be another dead end right here. Let's just check it right quick. Almost positive this is another dead end, like the one we had earlier. Yep. Alright. We keep going. Left here. And then punch through to get to the eyeball section. We have another item waiting for us. Or a weapon, in this case. Under 20 spot for our health. And yeah, this is false lava right here. Gotta find the cut through, there we go. We get some new visuals. A lot of different looks for Norfair. The eyeball section of Norfair. There's a finite number of these which you can shoot out on the screen at once, so if you're thinking, why isn't this... You know, the last ones I was able to shoot through them, you just gotta wait till the others fill back in behind you. Hardware limitations of the time. Again, another thing that will allow in the grand scheme of how great this game is. First in the line of many fantastic Metroid games. Super Metroid. Maybe better than this game. This was one of the areas I was talking about with the lava. Don't get caught between those two eye pillars right there, for lack of a better descriptor. You cannot jump out, as far as I know. Bad way to go. Interesting. See the bottom of that seahorse right there. That's good. It's very convincing that there's actual lava there. When you see the seahorse, and then you bust through, and there you go. Bust through this door with 5 more missiles, and what have we got this time, Blaze?
Alright, the wave beam. Very powerful weapon which spreads when you fire it.
Alright, good luck, Blaze. Yeah, we're replacing our ice beam, for the moment at least, with a more powerful offensive weapon. Obviously we can't freeze enemies now. Can I get out this way? Maybe not. Yeah, I'm not sure if they were designed to shoot things out, or if, for whatever reason, it's just not working in my game. I don't know, but not too upset about it. Gotta love the spread on the wave beam, though. The wave, if you will. You see it takes less shots on these enemies to take them down, but again, I just assume screw them. Quite literally. Well, in the context of the weapon, sorry. Clarify. So I guess we have a limit of about 10 blocks, 9 blocks right there that we can clear on the screen at once. Maybe a bit more, depending on the situation. And the entrance is right here. Get that nice little boost after we launch one too. Very nice. You would think launching a bomb inches away from yourself, even if you were crouched into a ball or not, would do some damage on your end, but just glad it doesn't. Another area that you cannot get out of. Yeah, there's, as far as I know, there's just no way to get out if you fall in between those, that little crack right there, and this ball wants to knock you in. Very disappointing death. So that's a dead end otherwise. We're just gonna backtrack now very carefully. Sometimes I like to jump, tap A and then move left or right, because that's how you avoid using the screw attack. Gives you a bit more control. So you're not constantly moving. You're only moving if you are. It was weird. I think she did with her legs there for a second. Yeah, it's only moving if you are in the case of not using the screw attack when you jump, so since we can't otherwise not use the screw attack, it's just there for the rest of the game. Just have to be careful. But that's a good way to make more precise jumps. Hit A and then tap left or right accordingly to get where you need to go. Love those guys for resupplying. Should be in good shape for the most part with the screw attack and just working your way through the different areas of this game once you have that. To top off your health, especially with enemies like this. Another 20. Again, being careful. Non-screw attack when possible. That was a little too close. Got the heart rate up. Can't hear it in my voice, but I felt it. I believe right here we can punch through the floor. Yeah, right there. And I think this is worth checking out. Let's duck down, see if we can't get another missile upgrade down here. It's the only drawback of the wave beam. Can't be right up on a door to use it. This is another area which looks exactly like the area we just came out of, but you can see it's new as we get another missile upgrade for ourselves. And they're useful not just on Mother Brain herself, but the other bosses. All 2 of them, when I say other bosses. Once we have both of these, we're going to head back left and up. It's obvious when you play the game, but it's interesting, especially the context of, what year it was and the timing and everything. But Fluff mentioned what an influence that Alien played on this game. I think it's cool, it's things that I didn't think about when I was a kid. Just, we did our class on, I guess it was Kung Fu again, referenced that class. You can check it out on the channel, link in the description, but, in the playlist. But, yeah, the developers there were being influenced by some Bruce Lee movies at the time, as you'd expect, but, these movies played a large role in sculpting how these games turned out. You just assume they sit down, or at least I did at the time. They just sat down and said, hey, we're going to make some game where protagonist is on another planet and there's aliens and a giant this or that, but yeah, that's where these ideas come from, so. But I digress. As I said, we're just heading back the way we came. And actually right here, I'm trying to remember if we need to go up or head back to the right. I think we need to go up, actually. So that's good timing. I don't like the way they... Good timing for that ball to slap us right in the face. Yeah, this is where being able to freeze these guys would be nice, but not an option, unfortunately. Alright, let's get another Fluff fact with Fluff. What do you got?
The name of the Varia Suit derives from a mistranslation. Initially meant to be called the Barrier Suit, which makes sense because, as Blaze explained, it reduces the damage taken. This translates roughly as Varia in Japanese, but a translating mistake had it written as Varia, and it just stuck. And speaking of facts on items in this game, Samus's famous Morph Ball power-up ability only exists because Nintendo's programmers couldn't figure out how to animate Samus crawling through the tight spots in this game.
That's interesting. I didn't know that, so that's why they stick that right at the start of the game, basically. You're gonna need this. Here, pick it up, and you can start to see how the items work in this game in terms of the gameplay and everything. Very cool. Necessity, the mother of invention, right? Very creepy music, though. Very atmospheric, more like sound effects. Just to establish the very creepy vibe. So we're backtracking now all the way back to Brinstar. We're going to head up to the sort of the top of Brinstar, get some more items. We'll find another few missile upgrades there, but another energy tank and a very important item, which Fluff, he referenced earlier with the translation for Varia Suit, Barrier Suit, Varia. But we'll let Blaze talk a bit more about what that specifically does when we get there. But in the meantime, yeah, just more backtracking. Now that we're done with Norfair for the moment, until we come back a little bit later to take on our first boss. Finally get Gary in here. He's got some good strategies for the two capos, as Fluff referred to them. And Mother Brain herself in this one. We would just jump ahead with the gameplay and show us back in Brinstar, but again, if you don't know where you're going, and there's a lot of confusion when a lot of the areas, not just in Norfair, but just all the areas on planet Zebes in general, all kind of look very similar in some cases, so keep this going. Just see the fastest way to get back as well as we finally reach the lift. Back to Brinstar. As much as I like that Norfair music, it's nice to get back to the Brinstar music on this next screen. The Brinstar music is very much to me like the start of your journey. Has that kind of flavor to it. So yeah, as good as these guys are, and it's just very easy to pick apart the Zebs with our wave cannon. We probably just better off at this point once you have the screw attack, just to refill with as you go with the many flying enemies that are going to give you 20s more reliably. Some enemies don't even give you 20s. 5 is the max, but when we do need our missile refill, which we're going to be putting off, I'm sure, until the end, we'll see how much we have once we're about to head and take on Mother Brain at the end, but in the meantime, we'll see how far we can get without having to stop off and refill. I think I made a wrong turn. I think we just need to keep going up here. So let me rephrase that and say this is 98% the fastest way to do things in this game. with the occasional. Even I get turned around a little bit. Make sure I'm on the right floor. Yeah, already getting around Brinstar much easier since we got that jumping upgrade. Here we go, I was looking for the green. Tiny little sand trap there. Don't know why I'm speaking in golf terms all of a sudden. I recommend taking this top one. You can use a bomb when you see one of these critters coming at you, but not too big of a deal. Just take the damage. Can't hurt that guy anyway, so. You can see one of those Zebs trying to scroll up the screen. Alright, so we've hit our max finally. 65 missiles. Good to know. Just to confirm. Surprised that didn't top us off completely. We're doing good on health right now. That's why I say the screw attack is such a game changer, because it just makes all these power-ups, these 5 and 20 health refills and the missile replacements just so much more available to you when you could just easily take down every enemy on the screen. Where we specifically need to be here. We're shooting up. There we go. And we get our third energy tank here. Don't need it, but might as well pick it up. So now we have 400 health, roughly. Much better shape. In some senses, the hardest part of this game is just the early days before you have a lot of the power-ups, which again goes back to that second Briggs note we covered. Getting the important upgrades as early as possible. So. I think I saw the ceiling move a little bit between these, one of these airlocks. I think we can use this to... There we go. Didn't get the timing right on that. And I think all we need to get into the door that's up here is the jump. You just barely make it with the jump upgrade. There it is. Step. There's one spot right there at the edge. It's tricky, but you can make this right at the lip. There we go. Alright. This is the location of another very important item. Missiles are no concern at this point. What do we got this time, Blaze?
Alright, the Varia Suit. Halves the damage which Samus takes. Very useful item, whether it's from enemies, lava, you name it, halves the damage.
Alright. Well, we were already doing pretty well, but yeah, now we got this sweet kind of strawberry tint to our suit. It's a good look, I like that. We're gonna take our new style and backtrack almost to the beginning now of Brinstar. I could find, might only be able to get out of here on the right. Alright. Sneaky. Just gotta go down piece by piece. Just wait for this to fill back in. Patience. So we're going to be headed to Kraid's hideout so we can finally take on our first boss. Almost an hour into this class, it'll probably be. Thereabouts. Take the high road here. Notice the power-ups do eventually disappear. high traffic. Apparently all the creatures it's rush hour right now. Alright. Kinda looks like a peppermint candy when we're rolling around in the Varia Suit with the colors. Now we can drop down. Much more satisfying to drop down than agonizingly, painstakingly work our way up. And the airlock back to the first area of Brinstar. The navy blue kind of less opulent vibes. Part King Midas hasn't gotten to yet. Every now and then you get some sort of that color glitch a little bit. I think this is the one we want. Hopefully, because we dropped a very long way down here to get here. Yep. And there's an E-tank on the ceiling right there, which we're going to grab right at the end. That's the tank I recommend saving for last, so that we can use it to top off our health before we take on Mother Brain. Need the ice beam to get it, but we'll be grabbing that again a little bit later, but it's the only gun where there's 2 instances of it in the game, but now we're headed to Kraid's Lair. Sweet looking statue, I have to say. I always like this music. Maybe it's because we've been, you know, having to deal with those other 2 on repeat for so long. Like super pink when we go to the missiles there. I like it. Giving me a craving for strawberry milk. Always remember the commercials with the Nestle rabbit. Usually did the chocolate, and then, you know, when he was drinking it with that big straw, his ears would twist together. It looked so delicious, and they always had he never drank the strawberry on camera because, I don't know, maybe it's nasty. I don't think I've ever tried it, but yeah, they put it there next to the chocolate after the fact. So this area's a little tricky with, there's some drops. You have to be very careful coming back, especially, which we'll cover once we get there. But, yeah, it's easy to lose a lot of time just by dropping back, and you have to backtrack more than you probably want to in that point. Well, any is more than you want to, but a lot of annoying backtracking. The screw attack, very important for some of these enemies, which you can see these ones on the ceiling, which take a lot of damage, even from our wave cannon, our wave beam. Just knock them out with one hit from our screw attack. These guys will come right through the wall, just like the crawlers, and hit you while you're going through the door, unfortunately. You drop down here all the way. This area's a little confusing. I think this is the best route to take still. We don't have enough headroom to get our screw on here. Gotta be careful firing that gun, takes us out of our tight screw defensive maneuver there. Plenty of missiles to greet Kraid with. And while we're working our way through his lair here, let's go back to Fluff for another Fluff fact. This time, let's learn something about Samus Aran herself. Fluff, what do you know about Samus?
Here's a few facts about Samus Aran herself. First, she was only the second playable human female character in a video game at the time. In a decade where most female characters were cartoons like Miss Pac-Man or a damsel in distress like Princess Toadstool, Samus was revolutionary in being a strong female protagonist. Interestingly enough, it turned out her gender was an afterthought. Rather than having grand designs on breaking gender barriers, The developers of Metroid decided midway through making the game that it would be an interesting surprise if, at the end of the game, the character in the suit the player had been controlling the entire game turned out to be a woman.
I've heard that before. That still floors me. That's crazy. So if we had the ice beam, we could get up that way, but it's not required at this point. But yeah, you always just assumed, hey, they wanted to make a strong female character. That was the idea. Not necessarily true. Just sort of at the last minute, hey, wouldn't this be a twist if this character, who we didn't see the face of this entire game, turned out to be a woman? And yeah, one of the best female protagonists, or most influential in video game history, came about. Sorry, Fluff just said all that. I just think it's interesting. We have a few more power-ups. We're not just here to get Kraid. Obviously, that's part of it, because you can't take on Mother Brain until you've taken out her two second-hand men. Work our way back up here. We're going to head right this time. There's still a few more missiles to get. I think there's one energy tank here to be gotten. There it is. And it's a good thing too, because we're taking some damage just getting here in the first place. I believe this is a dead end, so we just have to go back the way we came in. But going through the top this time. Let's see if we can get through with a little bomb. Maybe we can bridge this gap. I know we can't make that jump. We kind of bomb over that way? Yeah, alright. Maybe not? Alright. Let's go through the top then. Has that kind of reverbery quality that reminds me of still can't wait to get back up here. Oh, I think we need to go. I think we need to hit a higher entry point coming in this way, actually. And use the bombs to get a little bit of elevation. Yeah, there it is. There we go. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Tetris, I think it's maybe theme B or C, I forget, the kind of watery one, but this sounds more sinister and puzzling, which is ironic because Tetris, strictly speaking, is a puzzle game, but yeah, it certainly has that kind of, those rounded tones, that quality to it. So be very careful when you're dropping down there. You don't want to drop down farther than you mean to. Without the ice beam, it's a difficult climb back up, so just hug that right wall right there from the right side above it. And that's how we get here. Only 2 more energy tanks to get, as we have 500 health when we're maxed out. Thereabouts. Stop hitting me through the door. More missiles. We have just under 100 at this point. We're going to get some more, I believe, from taking down Kraid, and we'll get some more from Ridley. There's not 51 individual missile power-ups in this game. There's more of that floor glitching out the sprites, the coloring. Seems like there's a secret there, but no, that's just it's a one-off thing, because probably moved a little bit too fast or something. And we're finally coming up on our first boss. Like I said, about an hour into this class. Let's go to Gary for tips on how to take down the first boss in Metroid, Kraid.
It's Scary Gary's Boss Beaters. Alright, Kraid, the first boss in Metroid. You want to get close and repeatedly fire with the wave beam. You can actually stun lock him if you use turbo. It's a very nice feeling. I recommend it. You can also alternate to get behind him where he'll also shoot out projectiles from his back, but it's the same idea. The wave beam is nice because it goes over, creates a little arc over his projectiles, making it very easy to get shots in, and again, that stun lock is very satisfying.
Alright, thank you very much, Gary. Good tips. And we got 75 missiles added to our missile total. We're going to get another 75 from Ridley, as in Ridley Scott, as Fluff mentioned. So, yeah, there's 150 right there. That means if we do the math, 150 with a max of 255, there's another 21 individual missile upgrades to pick up around Zebes. Let's say it as many times as I will in this class. It's still never going to sound right to me, but that's fine. So this is how we're going to get out of here, by the way. Be very mindful of timing your jumps right if you're waiting for these things to respawn, as they will, if you're not careful, knock you a very long way back down, and it's very frustrating. And this is where the screw attack can, again, be a liability, as it gives us less control. There we go, over our jumps here. Let's finish off the top here. There we go. Heading all the way up. Not sure what our ceiling is right now in terms of missiles. Now we got the 75 from Kraid. I'm not sure how many we picked up on our own. Most of them. I'm doing the math, but drop all the way back down here, and we're going to head to the left. Take this back up again, back to the main chamber we just came from, but higher up where we were earlier, and then just head straight back up to get out of here. Again, backtracking. Alternate title for this game. Much as I love it, there's a lot of backtracking. It's the back roads. Turbo's pretty clutch for those low ceilings when you can't manage a screw attack easily, or an enemy comes right at you. As soon as you enter the screen, it's when you can turn Turbo B into your own freeze ray, even if you don't have the freeze beam. I guess ice beam, technically. Now just keep climbing to get out of here. Bit too gray. Let's head on back to Brinstar. So now we need to head back to Norfair, actually. That's where the entrance to Ridley's lair is, and there's more secrets to discover there. More power-ups. Another energy tank, if I'm not mistaken. We've gotten all the items at this point. It's just a few upgrades is all that we have remaining, but we have all the guns. We are going to switch back to the ice beam before all's said and done. There's another location for that here in Brinstar, which is more convenient, and that'll allow us to get that tank, which is up in the ceiling there. Again, you just had to comb every nook and cranny of this game with a fine-tooth comb to find all of this stuff. Back through the airlock. I remember how visually striking all this was first time I played. All this gold. Interesting choice. I like it. For whatever that's worth. As we're finally coming back up on Norfair again. We go 2 for 2 on these mini bosses. Alright. Back in Norfair. You miss this music? You head to the right at the bottom here. We're gonna head all the way down and bust through the floor again. Don't remember if we've busted through this floor before or not, but I know we've been in Norfair a lot. We've busted through a lot of floors in Norfair. I just don't know if it was this one. So we're gonna come all the way down, and that's a satisfying ball drop right there. Even though that didn't sound right. We're back in Eyeball Alley here. And while we're fighting our way through, let's go to Fluff for some more fun facts about Samus Aran herself. What else you got, Fluff?
Here's a few more fun facts about Samus Aran. Her character was inspired in equal parts by Sigourney Weaver's main character from Alien, Ellen Ripley, no surprise there, but also actress Kim Basinger. Her parents were killed by one of Mother Brain's underlings, Ridley, which makes taking him down that much sweeter. I'm talking about Samus's parents, by the way, not Kim Basinger's. And regarding her name itself, Samus was purportedly named after a 3rd century Macedonian poet of the same name. And Aran originated from soccer superstar at the time, Pele, and his full name, Edson Arantes do Nascimento.
Alright, there you go. Kim Basinger. Wondered about one of the developers had a thing for her. Hey, it was the mid-'80s, right? I don't know what that means, but anyway. So we're in the Lair of Ridley now. From, or by way of Norfair. You can see we made a left there. Go through a couple of those airlock screens and cut through the ceiling. And we have this area's version of the Zebs right here. We can use to refill our supplies as necessary. This is not a safe area, though. We don't want to loiter in this area, though. Spend any more time than we need to. Just here to get the missiles. And just doing the math, I think we're maxed out on missiles right now at 170. So if we get the 75 from Ridley, that'll put us at 245. So there's only 2 more missile upgrade containers that I'm aware of that we have to look for. That's good. Give me another energy tank while we're here. A tricky one, by the way. So note what we do to pick it up, as there is a pit right before it, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. These guys were nice for giving us quite a bit of health back right here. These guys are being cheap. Come on, there you go. Definitely look like the kind of guys that can give him back 20 health. Alright, just like that, we have our 4th tank. We're working into it now. Yeah, this is meant to be a dangerous area, this one stretch, but we're using it to top off our health. And there's a hole in the floor right here between these columns. Between the 2nd and the 3rd from the left, so find that, and that's how you get through here. Otherwise, you might be wondering, how the heck am I going to do that? Even if you have the ice beam at that point, the freeze beam. Alright, so this is the energy tank I was talking about, and you guys are just gonna keep slapping me around here. Alright, what I like to do is duck right here on this tile, turn myself into a ball, and then use the bomb to launch ourselves over the hole in the floor right here. There it is for your reference. Ridley's not too far from here. Got Gary standing by. Plenty of health now, just a couple more missiles to pick up. There's a really hard jump here. Just make sure you have lots of momentum. You jump right at the very end. Right there. It's very easy to fall and then have to work your way back there, but be careful. As they introduce some new enemies in this area. Just kind of variations on enemies we've already seen. So we get what should be the penultimate missile upgrade item at least. Mine the hole in the floor. I forgot about that one myself, actually. Yeah, Ridley and Kraid like those spikes on the ceiling. Now we are actually going to drop down here. And we're going to go after Ridley first, and then grab that final missile upgrade on the way out. See what Gary's got for us on this one. Tight platform jumping here, just be careful. And let's go to Gary for some tips on Ridley.
Boss beaters. Alright, Ridley. Jump over the initial attacks Ridley lobs at you, and then get close and repeatedly fire that wave beam. You can once again stun lock him if you get close. You can get behind him if you'd rather get shots in on that side so he's not firing at you right away till he adjusts, but an alternate strategy is to get down in the lava. I used to do this when I was a lot younger. Get into the lava beneath you. If you have the Varia Suit, I can recommend that because it slowly saps away at your health. The boss can't hit you there, so you just aim up beneath him, get your shots in. Eventually you'll take him out. Both very good and effective strategies.
Alright, thank you very much, Gary. And I actually misspoke. There are 8 energy tanks. We can just only have 6 at a time. So 6 is the max that you can carry, so we're all maxed out now. We can actually make this jump. There is one little ledge right there. And speaking of which, I forgot to mention there's one in Kraid's Lair, which is beneath the. You can barely make this jump to get out here. You need the high jump to get out of there, but there's one in Kraid's Lair, or Kraid's Lair, beneath the door when you come, and you can shoot that out and get an energy tank. So. Forgot to mention that, but there it is if you need it. Again, you can only have 6 max. Obviously, the other ones will top you off if you need the health, but we're still going to go back for the one in Brinstar and grab that one just to show you how to get it. But in the interest of truly 100%ing this, that's what's going on. We still need to get one final missile upgrade, which is in this area. Kind of a hassle to get it. Makes you wonder, do I need that 5 extra missiles? But again, let's show you. These guys that are just trying to get off the screen. And low ceilings, but we're still getting the screw attack off, despite that. I'm going to drop down here to get this final missile upgrade, all the way at the bottom. I'm going to head up here, cut through, and a little bit safer. And all these, running through all these Zeb knockoffs. Again, it's nice to have some new music here as well, but this one gets a little samey after a while. Kind of sounds like, and there's the final one. Kind of sounds like Bowser's Castle music, just a little bit, to me. Alright, so now we're going all the way back to Brinstar. Basically to the beginning of this game, so we can get that final E-Tank. And finally take on Mother Brain. So yes, more backtracking. Go up through here again. Avoid the traffic down below. Health isn't too much of a concern for us right now, considering we're on our way to top that off. We also need to stop off one more time and pick up another version of the Ice Beam, or the same version, just another placement for it. Gonna need that to traverse Mother Brain's Metroid-laden area. And finally back at the start. At least of Kraid's area, we're still in Norfair. Two heads, he gets a even more epic statue than Kraid did. Back through I Avenue. So we can stand and get a few more missile upgrades on the way, just so we have the full 255. So much backtracking. Back through the ceiling, formerly the floor. This should take us back to the main nexus of Norfair. Eventually. And back up at the top here to the elevator. Looks like some kind of voodoo altar right there on either side of that. So we're back in Brinstar, where we'll be finishing our adventure. Let's say now no one wants to give us any missiles. 255 seems like such an odd number to max out the missiles on. Quite literally an odd number. But the upside of having all the missile upgrades is I don't think you're going to need 255, but... And there it is, there's the max. The upside is that, you know, you don't have to be conservative once you get into Mother Brain's area. Just use that as your primary attack. Outside of freezing the Metroids, of course, the little brain-sapping, or brain-sucking, energy-sapping Metroids. The mini Mother Brains. I'm just gonna make a quick detour over here to replace our ice beam that we gave up for the wave beam earlier. This is necessary for freezing the Metroids. We just need to punch through the floor in this next airlock. Get through some fake sand. Pick that up. And it's about a third the way from the left, I want to say. Right about there. There we go. False sand. How about that? Item's so important, they put it in twice. And there it is. I think we can forego bringing back in Blaze for this. We know what we're getting with the ice beam again. This looks like a puppy dog with a blue ear to me. I know it's meant to be, like some creature with that item in its mouth, but yeah, just saying. Already I'm missing the spread that we got on the wave beam, but anyways, we head back to the start to get that tank. Let's go to Fluff for one final Fluff fact.
Metroid features 5 slightly different endings, with the difference being what outfit Samus wears while waving to the camera. If you beat the game in 10 or more hours, Samus wears her full suit and doesn't even turn to face you. In 5 or more hours, she wears her full suit. Beating it in 3 to 5 hours, you get her without the helmet. 3 hours or less, you get Samus with no suit and a leotard. And if you can beat it in under an hour, she waves at the camera in a bikini. Good luck with that one. It should also be mentioned that if you get one of the latter 2 endings, you'll play the game through without the suit on your next playthrough.
Alright, good call, Fluff. Yeah, various endings you can get for this game. All slightly different, but just variations of the same thing for the most part. Very difficult to beat this under an hour, at least if you're getting all the items. But we're going to head back and show you how to top off your E-Tank right before the final throwdown with Mother Brain. Drop all the way down here in Brinstar. Unfortunately, we're going to have to go all the way back up to get to her. Higher than we've gone before. But this area should look familiar at this point. We go underneath this ledge right here. We need this little guy to come with us so we can freeze him at just the right time. Or you can use one of those guys too, but I just assume freeze this guy. One single shot. Clear the ceiling area out there, and there you go. There's the 8th E-Tank outside of the one in Kraid's lair, in his specific boss room that I mentioned earlier, which is just below the door where you come in. You have to go in the sand, and you can only get it if you have the high jump, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in the sand and you'll die. But certainly helpful if you're trying to take on Kraid and you're low on health at that point. All the way up. Screw attack is nice. We don't have to wait for one of these guys to clear out like before we had it. And here we go. I get knocked back down, but that's where we want to go. It's one final elevator ride down into Mother Brain's lair. Might as well grab those missiles. We worked hard enough to get all the power-ups in this game. There we go, 255. But yeah, if you just want to, get a handful to open up the doors, and otherwise just, get the 150 from Ridley and Kraid. Just gotta give them a shot each. That'll create the bridge for you. Don't let anyone follow us. Don't want them getting rich off of our hard work. So be ready with that trigger finger down here in Mother Brain's lair. Gotta be ready to freeze these Metroids as soon as you see them. That was very close. See if we can get through here without getting caught. If you do get caught, you need to go into a ball form and just start dropping lots and lots of missiles. This door takes 10 missiles to get through. Again, this is why it's good to have a nice complement of these at this point. If you're efficient, I think you can beat this with about 150 missiles, so you shouldn't really need to go out of your way for too many more missile upgrades, but again, in the interest of having 6 energy tanks on the board and 255 missiles, there you go. You know, the door that took 10 missiles was orange, so slightly different shade there. And he's already waiting for us. There we go. Just one well-placed shot will buy you the time that you need. It is temporary, but generally you'll be off the screen by the time they thaw out. Mind the SpaghettiOs. That's always how I thought of them. There's that extra one just to throw you off. Just a few more Metroids to deal with. They throw a few of them at once at you. Gotta be very careful with where you freeze them. We're pretty good well, we might not be able to get through here now. If we go to a ball, I might get trapped at this point. Yeah, I think we got stuck. So this is where we want to use the... Oh, okay, yeah, the more the merrier, I suppose. That was touch and go. That was dangerous. That could have gone pear-shaped very quickly. And they're nice not to lock the main door to Mother Brain's place. And now just use a crap ton of missiles. You want to make sure you get a lot of shots off on these little barriers in quick succession because they'll grow back until you destroy them completely. So, in the interest of not wasting any missiles, you just want to take those out. At this point, I just like using my missiles for the SpaghettiOs as well. Not messing around with that. And that should be the final door before the final door with Mother Brain. So let's go to Gary. Take us home with Mother Brain.
Boss beaters.
Like Mother Brain herself, the final boss of Metroid. You want to stay on the right edge of that platform and retreat down when you feel a hit about to come on. The last thing you want is to get knocked to the left into the lava down there in that pit where it's very difficult to come out of and reset yourself. Use missiles very liberally at this section on the rings, the rinkas as they call them, to clear those out. Only shoot Mother Brain when you have an opening. You should be good on time in that sense, but you should be good on missiles too. If you, as I said, are liberal, use them on the rings and just focus on getting those shots in when you have time. But eventually you'll take her down. Congratulations, but it's not over yet. You gotta make your escape as the professor's going to explain.
Too right. Thank you very much, Gary, for that. Just a few more shots, I think, is going to put her down. I think we're going to finish with around 100 missiles still, so really kind of validates the claim that we don't really need to go missile hunting in this game. Just get a few to get by and take out Ridley and Kraid. But anyway, yes, we have 1,000 seconds, not seconds, much faster than seconds, to get to the top here. The only strategy I recommend here is to do as little screw jumping as possible. As we talked about earlier, when you need to make some more controlled jumps in some tricky areas. It's kind of difficult too, and sometimes because you need to get the distance. Just remember that move where you can jump first and then move the control left or right to keep the screw out of it. So far so good though, even with the screw. Just don't go for big jumps, just jump high enough so that you can reach the next platform. Don't worry about the timer, just kind of block that out. They give you plenty of time, as you can see right here. Obviously I didn't fall really any, but made it there with a third of the time, or 2/3 on the time still on the clock. And there you go. And since we beat this under 3 hours, we should see without the helmet. She'll shed the suit here. We fulfilled our mission. It will revive peace in space, but it might be invaded. We'll see how this sells. That's what that's code for. And there she is, rocking her Denise Austin, Jane Fonda lycra bodysuit, which would have been fashionable in the 80s, waving to us. Nice. With the blowout hairstyle right there. There you go. Metroid. With a decent ending. Yeah, very difficult to get that bikini ending. Under an hour. If you just kind of shoot right through it and don't worry about the missiles too much, I guess it's a lot more manageable, but when you're going for the 100%, 255 missiles, 6 energy tanks on the board, yeah, it's a taller order in that case. But yes, thanks to Kenzuri, Sumi, Inusawa, Kacho, everybody, and you class for attending this one. Long class, one of our longer ones that we've done here. Happy to do it. This is a fantastic game. Loved having you in this class. Please, once again, if you have not already subscribed to enroll in this class, please consider doing so. We do one of these classes every single week. We'd love to have you along for the ride. And lastly, a big thanks to all my TAs today for showing up for me. Extra Fluff Facts, much appreciated. And Gary and Blaze doing their thing. Again, 1986, Mappy Land. I'll never get over that. But yes, that's our time for this week. And we'll see you next week for next week's class in the same spot. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you. And check the description of this video to see what song is playing right now.